Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to trace the absolutely incredible evolution of surveillance. Seriously. We're going from spies, huddling in secret back rooms, literally steaming open letters, to the massive invisible data markets of today, all fueled by that phone sitting in your pocket right now.
I mean, just look at the contrast. On one side, you have the black chambers, back in the 1700s, where reading someone's mail was this slow, careful, physical job. On the other side, you've got the 21st century, where data is just zipping around the globe at the speed of light. The tools couldn't be more different, but, and this is the key thing, the basic goal of gathering information, that has been a constant for centuries.
All right, so here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to kick things off with the original Spies, just to see where this whole thing started. Then we'll leap into the modern data gold rush and see how the government became a huge customer in that market. From there, we'll actually explore a pretty radical take on what this all means, before we try to answer the big question, what's next for our privacy?
Okay, let's dive in. It's so easy to think of mass surveillance as, modern problem, something that came with computers and the internet. But the truth is, it's as old as governments themselves. Long before anyone dreamed of a smartphone, states were finding really clever ways to watch and listen.
Whether it was post offices, telegraphs, or telephone exchanges, governments have always found a way to intercept communications they saw as a threat. Back in 1723, it was letters. By 1848, it was telegraphs being used by protesters. And of course, during the Cold War, you had entire rooms full of people whose only job was to listen in and transcribe tapped phone calls. The technology evolves, but the target, our private conversations, that stays the same.
And you have to remember, this surveillance has always had real-world consequences. This quote from activist Aziz Chowdhury just hits the nail on the head. It was never just about foreign enemies. State spying has always been used to monitor domestic activists and dissenters, from anti-nuclear protesters to anti-apartheid movements. Okay, now let's hit the fast-forward button, because in the last couple of decades, something absolutely revolutionary happened. And it wasn't driven by spies, it was driven by business. The commercialization of our personal data has created a multi-billion-dollar industry basically out of thin air.
So, what's the secret sauce? The key building block of this whole new economy is something called a Software Development Kit, or SDK. The easiest way to think about it is like a little pre-packaged bit of code that an app developer can just drop into their software. It might be the thing that runs the ad banner in a game or gives you the local weather. But here's the catch. Many of them are also designed to quietly collect your data in the background.
So here's how it works, and it probably happens to you every single day. You download an app, and SDK inside that app starts collecting your location data. It then shoots that data, often linked to your phone's unique advertising ID, over to a data broker. And that broker's job? To bundle your data with info from millions of other people and sell it to pretty much anyone willing to pay.
And if you're wondering just how big this industry is, well, here you go, $12 billion. And that's just the estimated value of the market for our location data in the US alone. Understanding where we go, where we shop, where we live, it's a massive commercial enterprise. And it's all happening silently behind the screen of your device.
So you've got this massive data collection machine, right? Built by private companies for things like ads and analytics. Well, it didn't take long for a very, very different kind of customer to see just how powerful it was, the government.
After 9/11, everything changed. Government agencies realized they had a new option. Instead of going to a judge to get a warrant to track a suspect's movements, they could just open a wallet. Why go through that whole legal process when you can just buy huge data sets from the private sector that might contain the exact same information?
And almost overnight, a whole new marketplace popped up. Companies like Ventel, Gravy Analytics, and Babel Street became the go-to vendors. They started selling these incredibly powerful, off-the-shelf tracking tools to all sorts of government agencies, from Homeland Security and ICE all the way to the Department of Defense. The line between corporate data collection and state spying, it just started to dissolve. And what's the most crucial part of this new partnership? Well, this quote from a police sergeant says it all. This whole system thrives in a legal gray area, far away from public debate or oversight. Its success depends on secrecy.
So this blurring of lines between corporations and the state, it's understandable that it's created a lot of anxiety, and it's also fueled some pretty radical interpretations about where all of this is actually going. We're going to explore one of those ideas now, not because we're endorsing it, but to understand the most extreme fears that this technology has created.
So to understand the full spectrum of thought here, we're going to look at some claims from a source that suggests there's a global conspiracy at play.
Now, just to be crystal clear, we're presenting this view to show you the whole range of debate on this topic, not to say it's true, but to explain it as part of the public conversation.
Okay, so the argument from this source is that the COVID-19 pandemic was actually a manufactured crisis, that it was a psychological operation designed to use fear to roll out widespread social and political control on a global scale.
And what was the ultimate goal, according to the author? To dismantle the old system of individual nations and bring in a new normal. And this new order would be a centralized global government run by a wealthy, unelected elite.
This vision of a new normal is what the author calls a technocracy. Now, the traditional definition of technocracy is just a system run by technical experts. But in this interpretation, the term gets redefined into something much, much darker. A totalitarian system where mass surveillance isn't just a tool, it's a fundamental requirement to monitor and control the entire population.
Wow. Okay, so we've journeyed from 18th century mailrooms through today's complex data markets, and we've even waded into a radical theory of global control, and it all leaves us staring at a fundamental question about power and privacy here in the 21st century.
I mean, really, who is in control? Is it the corporations that build the tech and collect the data? Is it the government agencies that buy it and use it? Or maybe it's the giant tech platforms that host everything? The honest answer is, it's getting harder and harder to tell. The power is so spread out, which makes holding anyone accountable almost impossible.
You know, what we've really seen today is that while the technology's brand new, the impulse behind it isn't. The desire to watch is ancient. The real difference today is the sheer automated scale of it all. What once took a dedicated spy to track one person can now be done by an algorithm tracking millions of us at the same time, often without us ever knowing it's happening.
And that leaves us with one final critical question. In a world that is literally designed to watch us, how do we choose what we reveal? Because the data we give away for a little convenience can be bought, sold, and used in ways we could never have imagined. The permissions we grant on an app, the privacy we demand from our leaders, those aren't just small, personal choices anymore. They're political acts that are going to define the balance of power for years to come.